Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We are back again with a people's issue and with something that is being discussed, debated with a lot of ferocity in various parts of Goa. We are here to discuss the proposed Jetty policy of the government of Goa. And of course, as always, there are clearly two sides and both sides are on different banks of the river, as it were. I'll just kind of lay down the basic issues at hand for a healthy and a constructive debate to happen. Now, the Goa government recently announced the Jetty policy of 2022, and the avowed reason for doing so was to enhance or harness the full potential of the coastal state waters. That is what was said in the public notice by the tourism director. And the other premise was that Goa has this 104 kilometers of this vast coastline and 255 kilometers of inland waterways, and they are currently being utilized for material movement and public transportation. And this policy envisages suitable infrastructure for jetties, pontoons, terminal buildings, and obviously ancillary tourism infrastructure. So this is the avowed purpose, to harness the full potential of the Goan waters. Now, I'd also like to bring on record that the 9 jetties which the government plans to refurbish are Aldona, Ribandar, Old Goa, Pilgaon, Banastari, Rasai, Durbat, Shiroda, Savarde. And actually this decision is not really a decision that has happened now. Apparently this was a decision taken earlier, and 73 crores was earmarked under the centre's Sagar Samriddhi Yojana, but that was only for commuters transportation. That is one part of it. And before I go to the other people's side, just one more on the government side, where the tourism minister Rohan Kaunte is on record saying that this is to bring transparency in creating tourism infrastructure and have passenger cruises, water sports, and so on and so forth. So this is the reason why the government has said that it wants to do the policy. Now we come to the people's side, and why people see this not as a policy to really harness coastal waters for its people, but people say that this is nothing but a backdoor move to enhance coal transportation, and it's an extension of the overall manner in which the government is entrenching into various parts of Goa, maybe the forests, the roads, the waterways, and so on and so forth. The other objection which is being raised very strongly by activists is that people consultation has been either minimal or nil, in the sense that this was not kind of ferreted out properly, discussed with people, and that is something which strong objections have been raised. Thirdly, the third objection was the policy was put up only in the tourism department website, and no copies were sent to village panchayats. And most importantly, it was in English and not in Konkani or any of the other local languages that are read and followed. And of course, there are various other points. I will also highlight the 60 days notice which was not given, and they said that was mandatory. The 500 word limit for objections, people found it far too less, and that is completely understandable, that objection. And the issue here is, by and large, the suspicion that people have is that this is just an entry into the whole world of or extension of this whole world of coal transportation. Now, I have with me a very extremely competent and balanced panel, and I thank each one of our guests for taking the time off and participating in an issue as important as this. I'll start with Abhijit Prabhudesai, convener of the Kolsonaka. He is, of course, activist for all seasons, has been taking up a lot of these issues, and thank you for coming. Hyacinth Pinto is not only an architect but somebody who has worked very closely and has been a consultant on a lot of riverine issues, apart from she being an architect and planner. Thank you for being here. Octavio Rodriguez, welcome. He's a marine engineer with the Captain of Ports, and his insight and inputs into many of these points and will enhance the discussion a lot. John Fernandez, welcome. He's the proprietor of the Boatcraft organization. He's a boat builder, maker, but also a water sports professional, president of the South Goa Water Sports Association. I will start with Octavio because he's the government. So I'd like you to just outline a little bit of what we have said and just factor in some of the opposition also. But if you can just set the ball rolling by underlining what the objective of this.
Okay. See, a policy is a plan of the government or any organization. Policy, normally they are formulated to guide in decision making and maintain the uniformity in decision making. Now, looking at this policy which has come, Jetty Management Committee policy. Okay, this, going through this, it is seen that it is a jurisdictional overlap, or I can say it is jurisdictional encroachment. Why I say that? Because see, when this policy comes, it is actually the captain of ports, the state ports department is the whole and soul. They are the whole, the jurisdiction of all the waters and all the maritime industry comes under the jurisdiction of captain of ports. The central government, by the legislation, okay, parliamentary legislation, has empowered the state ports department, that is the captain of ports department, and he will look after the whole rivers, the ports of the state government. And he is the one who is supposed to, he is also the conservator of the port. As per the Indian Ports Act, Indian Ports Act of 1908, now it will be, repealed, yes, yeah. So that Indian Ports Act in chapter 3,
right,
okay, 7, the clause 7, the captain of ports is the conservator of the ports.
Okay.
He is the conservator of the whole of the rivers, whole of the waters.
Just to interrupt, I'll let you continue. My point being that while the jurisdiction issue is valid, but the point is I'm asking you to just fast forward a little bit onto the purpose behind the jetty policy and how will the jetty policy help. That is significant.
Yeah, that is what I am coming to, because from our side it is, they are coming up with this jetty policy to actually streamline all the tourism activities.
When you say they, you mean the tourism department?
Yeah, the tourism, it is the consultant actually who has made this policy for them. Okay. But this consultant has to also check, also has to approach the captain of ports, because he is the conservator of the ports, to formulate this policy.
Right.
That was not done.
I see.
That was not done. Okay. So that is the reason why, because I am coming to that only.
Right.
Yeah. Because see, captain of ports, he has the jurisdiction of the whole rivers. Okay.
Right.
As per the, and he is empowered by the parliamentary.
Right.
Okay. Now, also as you come towards this jetties, as you come towards the jetties a jetty, the definition also in this policy is not actually correct.
Right.
What is a jetty?
That's another eye opener.
Jetty is actually a landing stage, or where the boats are moored.
Right.
Or it is just an interface between the land and the water,
right,
where the passengers can embark and disembark,
right,
and also unloading and loading of cargo,
right,
okay, and bunkers, everything is from the jetty side.
Right.
Okay. So now here the tourism, they have come up with this policy to streamline the tourism activities, mostly the tourists which are coming. So like they wanted to have the uniform rates and single window system,
right,
and manage.
Right.
And this was done on the jetty of Santa Monica, which was actually under captain of ports, but was given to them to do the tourism activity.
Right.
But now they had formed this committee called the Jetty Management Committee to regulate and maintain the single window system at only Santa Monica jetty. So now they have spread and they wanted to have it uniformity everywhere.
Right. Right.
Okay. So but in that there are many things. Okay, before that I come to the Sagarmala jetty, what you have mentioned now. Yes, right, around 9 jetties are under Sagarmala jetty. These are all, because the people of this state should know that Sagarmala jetties are not meant for coal. These are all old dilapidated jetties during the Portuguese time. They're all been dilapidated, crumpled down and fallen. Now we are trying to revive them back to these modern times, and they will be used by the community, by the people, local people, and of course revenue will be generated. Now it is a 50-50% with the with the central government. So we get that fund to revive this. So now it is not meant for coal. It is for the passengers. It is for some inland connectivity.
Okay.
And inland this thing to work.
Okay, we'll pause there. We'll get back to you. Okay, you just complete your last point, then I'll come back to you on this. Yeah.
Okay, the last point is to talk about the jetty. There is a lot of
Okay, I'll come back to that.
Yes.
But you explained the situation very well. There are two takeaways from this. First, you said that the point is Captain of Ports was not really consulted. The definition of jetty needs to be reworked, but you are maintaining that because of the condition of the jetties and the fact that they are relatively small jetties, you can't really say that they are meant. We welcome Lencio Simoes, General Secretary of the GRE, and who's here as well because because a lot of issues that he's been fighting for is linked to the subject at hand on jetties. But I'll just come to Abhijit now. Abhijit, you heard what Octavio said. And the two important points that he made was, of course, the jurisdiction issue, but secondly, he says the jetties themselves are far too small to be looked at as stepping stones for coal transportation.
Okay, fundamentally, people have very, very big issues with this entire thing. To start with, the rivers and the khazans of Goa were created by the local communities about 3,000-4,000 years ago. Created, maintained, owned, and used by lakhs of people, literally. Because it's not just the river is connected to all the khazans, which are really reclaimed from what was earlier the sea, the wetlands of the sea, and all the river bunds, and every little detail has been created by the local community. So in effect, these rivers belong to the local communities, and that's where I think the fundamental issue lies. The jurisdiction of Captain of Ports or whoever else is all
should be subsumed by the people.
Exactly.
People's rights. That's what
so the people's rights come first.
Right.
Okay, so now what is happening is from 2016 onwards, there have been repeated assaults on the people's rights, starting with the inclusion of 6 rivers in the National Waterways Act, and therefore taking the control of the rivers into the hands of the Inland Waterways Authority of India. And then now you have the Major Ports Act, which is saying that MPA is going to decide and plan on all of these rivers. And on top of all of it, you have the Sagarmala program, which, irrespective of whatever Captain of Ports says, clearly says that 137 million tons of coal is going to be transported through Goa. And since MPT, after it destroys all of Baina, Vasco Bay, etc., can only 51 million tons, 86 million tons of coal is going to be transported through our rivers. That's what the Sagarmala program says. The people are very clear. Unless these are all reversed, unless the rivers are removed from the schedule, unless the port limits are removed and the Sagarmala program is corrected to remove coal transportation through Goa, they are not going to allow any activities in their rivers. And this, I think they're absolutely right. This comes from the ground. And in response to what he says that these jetties are for tourism or for the people, the people on the ground completely reject it. In Rasai, where they want to put up a ferry, the existing ferry ramp is very well used and there's absolutely no problem with it, and people go from Durbat to Lotli very happily. This is being built in a new area, and this has got absolutely no requirement at all because there are no tourists in that part of Lotoli at all. And nobody can envisage how this jetty can be of use to anybody, any tourists or any locals. And the same applies in Savarde, Shiroda, Durbat, Pilgaum, most of the areas. There's absolutely no tourists and
just
there's no
one
need.
Clarity for viewers and everybody is that, and anybody can respond to this. See, are these jetties that are getting refurbished, or are they fresh jetties near the
older jetties? That's
Is that correct?
But I guess
The draft.
Yeah, I'll come to you 1 second. Give me only 1 minute.
Most of the jetties are refurbished. They have all been dilapidated and crumpled down. They were there existing before.
Okay, so he's saying that they are not new jetties. He's saying that they are the refurbished jetties that are happening. They are not new constructions, and the refurbished jetties don't have the capacity and the strength to handle coal transportation, if that is the allegation. That's his point.
Well, fundamentally, all the people from these villages whom we have interacted with at great length have clearly said there's no need for any further passenger transportation, because there are existing ferries which are operating from one side of the river to the other and are more than sufficient to cater to the requirements.
Okay, I'll come to you, Hassan, 1 second. Olensi, you wanted to say something, but before you do that, one quick point. See, thing is, what Abhijit said in response to what Octavio said was that, look, they fundamentally, no tourism happens in many of these areas which are being positioned as tourism jetties. So quick response to that, and then whatever you had.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with it, because if you go to the draft
Yes.
jetty policy,
Yes.
I don't think anywhere in the country there is a jetty policy. I think this is first of its kind which has come in the state of Goa. And in the name of tourism, now they have come with, if you go to the section, I'll just not go to much of the things, but I'll just go to section 6.1, registration of vessels. They talk about barges, yachts, container ship, transport vessels. Then section 8.4, maintenance obligation, they say. And that they say dredging is important to maintain the depth of the channel.
Yeah.
So now it is shocking that we have already seen in Mandhavi Bay
Right.
that there is ample number of tourism activities taking place there. So now again you are trying to fool us that you are trying to say this is specifically for tourism jetty, but the fact is, what jetty? There is no specification on it. Is it going to be a coal jetty? What is going to be the length of the jetty? What depth they are going to attain? What navigation channel they require? What is the length and breadth of the navigation channel? All these things, issues are pertinent. And now here in this jetty policy now, you are giving space to build another multi numbers of jetties. Now existing jetties which are there are fishing jetties, there are even mining areas, there are 12 jetties there in Savarna, those areas.
Right.
Now if you so much have love for these jetties, you upgrade them. We have no issues. You upgrade them and you convert that into tourism jetties.
That is what Octavio has been saying, but
But that is not saying in the draft. Here in the draft, you are talking about 255 kilometers of rivers and 105 kilometers of a coastline. You are allowing additional jetties. There is no restriction on jetties here. We have seen the coastline, almost 25% of a coastline is completely eroded. Now you are going to allow more jetties in our coastline as well as in our river, which means you are further going to create problems. The siltation process is going to increase through dredging, and that will eventually see that our Goa coastline is completely eroded. So if tourism is dead in Goa, if our beaches are dead, then why will tourists come in Goa? Tourists are coming only because of beach tourism, because most 80% of tourism related to a beach tourism, not interland tourism. So what is the fuss and what is this emergency? First you gave 15 days.
right.
You don't even, so then you saw that there is some protest. Then you realize that to extend it to another 30 days. Here it is very clear that they have malified intention. This is not come in the interest of tourism, but this is come in the interest, not interest, to finish tourism in the state of Goa. This is very clearly under this fishing jetty policy.
Okay, I'll just come to Hassan because she's waiting patiently. Hassan, from the planning point of view, where do you see the flaw, if there is a flaw? From a pure planning infrastructure point of view, where is the flaw?
Yeah, see, for the infrastructure, I actually have been of the contention that our waterways have been underutilized. They were used a lot before. We had launches from Aldonado Panjam, you had launches from Mormagoa to Donapal, and I think if you, at that time, they were slow launches, but so it would take a long time. So then automatically when the roadways networks improve, people would use the roads. But if you use the waterways again with speedier boats, point to point, picking up points on the way, I'm sure you'll decongest the roads and you'll clear the parking issues, and a lot of things will you know,
So you're saying
will improve.
fundamentally using the riverine system is important?
For people,
Yes.
for passengers,
Yes.
movement,
Yes.
people's movement, and also automatically tourists would also use that. So in my opinion, providing such infrastructure by renewing the renovating the old jetties is
It's
actually
fine.
is
No
a good
problem.
thing. Yeah,
Right,
is a
right.
good thing. But now you have to go further into the policy and ensure that these jetties are going to be used only for these particular purposes. No coal transportation. No. Why only coal? Don't stop at coal. Any hazardous material cannot be transported on that routes or whatever. Then you have the captain of ports. They have this underwater, levels. So you know exactly which are the channels through which the larger vessels can go.
Right.
Yeah. Then you get the fisheries department on board. So
Right.
you know which are the breeding grounds of fish. You avoid doing anything in those areas. So there are ways that you can mitigate yet improve the system.
Which and you're saying this process has not really been followed.
Yes, and I'm also saying that they've only talked about cruise jetties. Now,
Right.
these cruises they're really polluting the water. Noise pollution, garbage pollution. You sit in Miramar or you sit on the other side of the river, and one after the other, these boats are bombarding you with this Punjabi Bhangra music and things like that, disturbing the peace. You can regulate that too, no?
Right. Okay. I'll come to Octavia because he needs bit of responding to do. But I'll bring John in. Thank you, John, for being patient. See, thing is, as a water sports person and as somebody who's been there, or somebody who builds boats and all that, how do you look at it from your, say, I'm using the word trade for the lack of a better word right now, but your activity, your profession, your business, how do you look at the whole thing from your point of view?
Okay. First of all, thank you for getting me here.
Pleasure.
In Goa now what we have seen
Yes.
is we are more used to agitations, protests, which for me I don't look towards it. But why? Because there is no clarity. Now when we speak about this particular policy, there is no clarity. It's a good initiative by the tourism department, by the center or Goa, I don't know who is it, is that we need more tourists. Because if you look at when I started water sports in 25 years ago, it's completely changed, and those kind of tourists are not coming now anymore. Now we get all these cheap tourists. So if the government wants to do something to bring in better tourists, it's a very, very good initiative. Like just noted down when he says we don't need these jetties. You need this to be done prior, not after. You need to go to a doctor before you are ill, when you feel the symptoms. So I think Goa feels this symptom that we need to actually upgrade our system. Like I agree with her, because in olden days there were ferries going from Miramar to Panjim. I went when I was a child. I went from MPD to Panjim. It's not there. So if these things were there in the olden days, now at a fresher level, why can't we improve it? Olden people in Goa were roaming with custies. Do you see anybody in custies? No, but do you still want people to roam in custies? Everybody wants jeans, everybody wants a fancy mobile. See,
Yeah, but I don't think that parallel actually works in this situation. But
Now-
I understand your broader
Yes.
thing that
So
you
now
said that they should have been there.
why I won't say this policy is why people are. But there's no clarity because we don't know who is going to build it. We don't know where they are going to build it. We don't know who is going to get affected and who is going to win from it.
Point.
Correct? Now, if it's for enhancing tourism, so are we going to hurt the fishermen for our benefit? So we want tourism, but it cannot come at a cost where we are going to hurt our fishermen. We are going to hurt our
Ecosystem.
ecosystem. So now, if my fishermen people say that we don't want this jet in a particular position, I will make it my kind of point to go and ask him why we don't need it, and is there any other solution?
Right.
If we want to grow,
Right.
then we will have to take everybody into confidence and then understand what is the pain points.
Correct.
Once you know the pain points, we can bring in solutions.
Correct.
If coming to Octavia says that it is not meant for coal, is there something given in writing? Then we are welcome. We welcome, but we need something which is evident. Like this policy clearly mentions that it is for tourism.
Right.
So we are
Exclusively, yeah.
exclusive. If it is for tourism, I am with it. If it's anywhere otherwise, we are going to oppose it. Now we had a water sports meeting last couple of weeks before starting,
right.
and it is taken by all of the members saying that we are going to oppose this jetty policy tooth or nail. So my thing is, why you need to oppose it is the first question. If you don't know why it is, for whom it is, who is going to earn, who is
So
going
you're
to harm.
essentially saying that clarity first, and then the decision to oppose or not oppose.
Yeah, on this
should happen.
jetty,
Right now, there's
I
no
went
clarity,
to
you're
this
saying.
policy 4 times,
You're
and
right.
I have never found a place.
Right. Point.
Where is it?
Fair point. Okay. Take it.
So is it in Kolva?
Okay.
Is it in Mabor? Is it in Kansalim?
Yes.
Is it in Aldona? I don't know where it
Transparency on
is.
locations,
Okay.
transparency
Now,
on.
just coming to a couple of things. See, number one, right in the beginning, he said, look, these are not going to be new jetties. That was his point.
Yes.
Point two, he said they are only getting refurbished. What he's essentially saying is that, look, if the elephant is not in the room, why are you saying the elephant is in the room? He's saying that, look, Baba, we are not doing new jetties. We are only refurbishing them.
But
And
it's
it is
a
only
lie.
for-
It says new.
But let him.
Policy says new.
It's a lie. Because
This one says new also. Policy
no.
says
See,
Here there is a confusion now here.
Okay,
The
tell us what-
confusion is what, you are talking about the cargo thing, okay, about the coal. Okay, here there is a tourism side, okay, that point of, I am telling you, the Sagarmala jetties, they are all been refurbished. They are used only for, it's also called as like a community jetty, for the passenger, for the connectivity, no coal, and I don't know any type of hazardous cargo will not come there, because they are very small. For the coal unloading to happen,
Yeah.
there should be many things there. There should
Right.
be cranes and big trucks should go. There is no access like that here. And the draft is not sufficient for these barges to
No,
come.
I have just
Yeah.
only one point.
Yes, sir.
My thing is, you in the beginning, there was a lament expressed by you that that captain of ports was not consulted, not taken into confidence when this.
Yeah, by the
Right,
consultant,
okay.
they have not consulted.
Since that is the case, then but the inference is that you won't really be knowing what is in their mind when they are bringing this up. So, with what confidence can you completely say that this is meant for tourism or not? Because you all have not been party to the entire decision making.
So first thing is, I am only concerned because they have encroached into the jurisdiction of the captain of ports, the state ports department. Separate ministry, separate tourism, separate ministry. The consultant failed to consult us. The Department of Ports, the captain of ports, to formulate this. And here they have encroached into the rights of the captain of ports. This is totally not acceptable. Why? To put a jetty, as he is the conservator of the port, to put a jetty inside his own jurisdiction, why we should wait and take the NOC from a jetty management committee? Is it what? It's not an.
You are saying the jetty management committee shouldn't be sitting in the tourism department.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that because it is there in the policy that, whenever we want to install a jetty, they have.
No, I
to
will have
take-
one section of this discussion only on the jetty management committee, because that itself is another big issue we need to
Yeah,
discuss.
because I have
Yes.
come for that
Yes.
jetty management
Yes.
committee. All this.
Yes, okay. Let's do a quick thing. See, what he is essentially saying is that why you even imagining, and that's what we are inferring, an issue when there is nothing to suggest that this is going to be used for coal.
See, first of all, we have to understand, like, he is worried about the COP jurisdiction.
Right.
Slowly COP and Fisheries Department will be shut down, simply because the National Waterways Act removes all the powers, and the Major Port Authority will remove all the powers of this authority or Captain of Ports Department. Now what the problem arises now, my friend here said that we go on fair from Kasti to Jinspen. The issue is now from Jinspen we might come back to Kasti. That's a problem. So the thing is now, tourism, for example, water sports, let me precise, dolphin rides takes place. Who does this activity? These are these villages there, traditional communities or the coastal community who does this water. But if you see off late, we cannot find even dolphins. So what is going to happen to their livelihood? We have seen Kampal beach, which was rich in oysters. Shina Kala Sagle mein hotale. Ice beach na kai na. Coco beach tuka they that tisriyo mein hotale. In my teenage time, we should just put our hand out. Ata kai na. So we have to limit it. But here, now from traditional people who are having this business of tourism, it is likely to outsource and given to someone like Delhi, Bombay, and the entire tourism industry, which was controlled by from water sports, from hotel lobbies or what you call taxis, they'll all be kicked out. And here the issue is now nowhere in the country this is being done. Why here? For what? Because you know that the entire state of Goa is aware what is coming from the center. It is all about Sagarmala implementations here. Your objective is 141 million metric ton of coal per year. You cannot do it through just double tracking or 4-lane road. You require the rivers. Therefore, these jetties have been planned in a different name that is called tourism. After tourism, that will be all this other remaining handling. Now dredging, I'll just come to dredging.
Yes.
आमचे महादेव river जे आहा ते आज डॅम बांधून कर्नाटकान पळय जे डॅम बांधला ते आज वॉटर टेबल सुकला काबार जाले थिंगा river. So now if we again keep on dredging and capital dredging, maintenance dredging, what is going to happen to our coastline and river banks which are rich in mangroves, which are rich in all other marine biodiversity? So for us, we have to be futuristic. We are short-sighted planning. Looks like the entire country, I say entire country because I've been seeing what is happening all over the coastline, is being sold for one man called as Adani. 10 years back, not a soul knew him. Today is the second richest person in the world, precisely because our departments are sleeping. It's good that he pointed out that his thing might go, but that's a fact, and it will go one day or another, and until the concerned department voice out. Now here in this policy, fisheries department is omitted.
That's what.
Fisheries department has no say. Initially, now there is another
Important point actually.
another administrative order which has come from tourism department on 2nd August 2022.
Right.
There now what it says, for new hotels, shacks, water tourism, water boats and other activities, homestay, you don't require any NOC of any competent authority.
Right.
No panchayat, no CRZ, no TCP, nothing. All that you require is just saying that you have 10 rooms, tourism department will give you NOC and you start your tourism activities. Now if your yacht which is not fit, the vessel
Right.
which is not fit,
Right.
NOC tourism will be given. Tomorrow if it capsize and people die, who is going to be responsible? So this has become a joke and mockery of the system.
One quick, one more, just an understanding part. See, again, anybody is free to answer this. And this is mainly a question that viewers will ask. See, when you're doing coal transportation from, say, the MPA and then the barges or the vessels are going down the river towards the Karnataka side, why do you need jetties along the banks? I'm asking you, why is the need?
Yeah, I can explain that to you.
Because that's,
And
people
that's-
would wonder.
yeah,
That's
the
a layman's question.
The whole point is that big capesize or maybe slightly smaller, but big vessels are going to enter the rivers, and they need a place to to store the coal. And therefore, for
can
example,
you store in the berths?
I'll give you
Sure, yeah.
an example
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Rasai.
yeah.
In Rasai, where the jetty is being proposed, very close to it, a bandh is being built into a huge road.
Okay.
And then there are khazans ahead which have been acquired by people who are interested in giving them out for commodity transportation. So everything is taking place at the same time. If you see the regional plan prepared in 2011, clearly shows 25-meter roads, 15-meter roads going through the khazans and specifically to serve this jetty. So the whole point is you bring coal from Adani's mine in Australia, bring it into our villages, Lotolim, Durbat, Shiroda, dump it in the khazan, fill the khazan, dump it there, and then take it by the road networks. That there are all these big highways that are being constructed are precisely for this. And then you take it by
So
road
you're
to
saying they
Karnataka.
will not use the water road.
The waterway only goes up till Sawadde. You can't go further by your ships.
Right, exactly,
Okay,
correct, yes.
so till Sawadde you bring it in by your boat, dump
So
everything
you're
in the
essentially saying
khazan,
the big ship
and
comes
then
to
take
MPA.
it through the villages to
No, again,
Karnataka.
forgive
Yeah.
me for a layman's question because people may not understand it as well as you do. Okay, I'm still trying to understand the pattern. See, first the big ship comes from Australia or wherever, the coal comes into MPA.
No. It will come straight to these jetties.
Oh, you're saying the actual port where the MPT exists now, it did not go
That
dock
will be
there.
handling only 51 million tons.
Right,
It can't
right.
handle any more. The remaining 86 million tons comes haphazardly to all our rivers, to all our villages, into our khazans, mountains of coal.
Okay, Abhijit,
And
where
then
is
that is
the
the
confirmation of this? In the sense that is this a intelligent estimation, or is there a
This is
is there
in the
concrete-
Sagarmala program.
Sagarmala volume
The
5.
Sagarmala program clearly says that some 20 gigawatts of
Right.
power generation and 75 million tons of steel production is going to take place in Karnataka, which requires 137 million tons of coal. Very simple mathematics. And they say that only 51 million tons can be handled at MPT after its final expansion, which means Baina, Vasco Bay, everything is taken over.
Right.
And then the remaining 86 million tons is through the rivers. We have stated this before the Chief Minister, before every authority, and they are all with their mouths zipped saying, we don't know. Well, these are the same guys who have allowed our rivers to be taken over by the Inland Waterways Authority, have allowed the Major Ports
That's true.
Authority Act, have allowed
And
the
shockingly,
Sagarmala
none of
program.
our
And
MPs have even uttered a word in Parliament on this.
not just that, when they do the double tracking, and if you see the Sagarmala, all of these projects, the jetties, the roads, the highways, the railway tracks, these are clearly said as port connectivity. They are being called port connectivity projects in the Sagarmala program, in their files, in the Captain of Ports files, which I saw this morning. So when the Chief Minister or a minister says that the double tracking is for vegetables, is for tourists, then everyone knows that they are lying through their teeth, and the government has been lying through its teeth all along. And in spite of us repeatedly saying it's all of this for coal, they are not able to give any response. So in this situation, when the government is lying through its teeth, it shows that
trust.
there are very corrupt interests behind this, and the people are not going to keep quiet. For example, in Rasai, everyone knows that nobody needs a jetty. There's absolutely no need. Same thing in Durbat, Shiroda, everywhere. So everyone knows that this is the first step in usurping the people's rights. Please understand, the people are in possession and in control of the rivers and the jetties. By bringing in these jetties, the government is trying to take over the control of these areas, and then using all of these acts, then it's very easy to get rid of the locals and keep going ahead with the coal program. So Olensia is absolutely right. This is very clearly a part of the bigger agenda to first usurp the resources from the communities.
Okay, Hassan, I'll just introduce a small topic before I take a break. Let us look at the Jetty Management Committee, which is a new character in the whole play, as it were. Now, the interesting part here is that this Jetty Management Committee somehow seems to have been given these enormous rights to figure out the levels of water and the nature of water and plan the whole riverine ecosystem movement. But the point here is that how did this come about? I mean, what is strange is that the Jetty Management Committee does not seem to have people who are equipped with the wherewithal and the knowledge to do the work that they are destined
Absolutely. So it's definitely not feasible for a Jetty Management Committee to be acting over and above the Captain of Ports and the River Navigation Department, who
Correct.
know the overall
Correct.
situation from the beginning. You're a management committee. You're not a planning committee.
Correct.
You're not a policy making committee.
And they've been told to established procedures for identifying the carrying capacity of any river.
How can
How can-
Shocking.
Who's competent in that? Who's competent in that?
Beginning of the situation, the carrying capacity should have
They
been.
only talked about
who is supposed to
ticketing.
do who?
Yeah.
Correct.
How
Correct.
can JMC, Jetty Management Committee, tell us that you can't renew your boat, which means there is something
Ulterior.
ulterior from.
No, I'll just add to it.
So
The carrying
if you are really for tourism,
Correct.
please bring it clean in black and
No,
white.
and I'm saying
So
further,
it is
why
here,
should the jetty
this
be
is what
only
is
for
going to happen.
tourism? Why not for the people?
No, I'll just add to this carrying capacity. This carrying capacity study should have been taken much before the policy was released.
Correct.
Now, for example,
Correct.
the carrying capacity of beaches of Goa for providing shacks and other temporary structures
Right.
in private area was conducted by the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management 2016.
Correct.
Where they had said turtle nesting areas, dunes areas, fishing areas, river mouths are no-go areas.
Correct, absolutely. They should be.
And they said that this area is available for tourism activity and this area is not available. Now all this thing is gone for a toss. which means
Okay.
you're going to put jetty in turtle nesting area, sand dunes area, fish breeding area, fishing village area, everywhere. So what are we going to do?
Okay, final word from Octavio, a quick word from John. No, John, I'll take you after the break. I'll just finish.
No.
Octavio, only one final thing. I'll let you respond to the whole thing. But, you know, John, your captain of ports is also a member of the Jetty Management Committee. So what's the complaint?
There is no complaint as such here. Yes, captain of ports is a member of this committee. But which committee? Jetty Management Committee is only for the Santa Monica Jetty. Now it is spread up to everywhere without we ourselves do not know about this policy which
It
is coming.
says it shall extend to all the jetties used for tourism purposes in the state of Goa.
Yes.
Now, all the so-called jetties that are now being envisaged, they can say that they are for tourism purposes, and hence the
They are all-
GMC's jurisdiction.
No. Now see, we have our jetties, captain of ports jetties, and captain of port has a right to put anywhere and only thing in conjunction with CRZ,
Yes.
okay, and pollution control board. That's all. Because this is in our jurisdiction. Based on the infrastructure required, we will put our jetties, okay, and they are passenger jetties.
So the GMC has no jurisdiction over captain of port jetties.
No one has the jurisdiction over the jetties of the captain of ports. Okay, any committee,
No, I'm
GMC.
just again for clarity. The jetties that are being proposed as part of this the current jetty
Yeah,
management.
before that, no, I will just tell you the jurisdiction as per the Indian Ports Act, okay, 1908, Chapter 2, okay, clause number 6, subclause 1E. Captain of ports has the powers to make port rules for regulating vessels, embarking, disembarking of passengers, ballast, cargo, everything. Also, in same thing in that clause JJ and JJ, regulating the usage of the piers, the jetties, landing places, wharves, quays, warehouses, and fixing the rates for the usage of the same. Plus, they also have the powers for licensing and regulating the boats, catamarans plying for hire or for cargo, passengers or other boats plying for hire or not, whether regularly or occasionally, and for licensing and regulating the crew of such vessels.
But Octavio, why do you feel this GMC is encroaching into your jurisdiction? You are saying that they are two different entities altogether.
Yes.
So what is bothering you then?
See now, what they have said, installing of any jetty used for the tourism purpose, okay, we need to consult them, take their NOC and then install. How? This is not correct. It is our land, the river land, the rivers belong to us. If the tourism want to put a jetty or anybody as such, tourism or forest department or fishery department, they have to ask the permission of the captain of ports.
But in the jetty management committee, since captain of ports is already there, that's what I'm trying to ask. Why are you getting peeved?
No, because see, even though we may be there, okay, now we are there, okay, so was that policy was consulted that
So you're
consultant
saying
did-
even though the captain of ports was there was no consultation?
No, but why? Now you just tell me, okay, how can a committee come into the jurisdiction of the captain of ports? This is governed by the central law,
Right.
legislation in the parliament.
Correct.
And we are being given the powers and suddenly someone comes, forms a committee and takes the powers of the captain of ports. This is, we have to think. So we will
Means
be,
accountability, no, in
Yes.
the end. Who's
Yes,
going to hold?
correct.
then what happened? We also need to reply even to the Ministry of Shipping.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
how this is possible? Because we are governed by the Central Act. Also one more thing. Now he
Let's take a
mentioned,
break after this one so that you can continue.
okay. Also he has mentioned,
Yeah.
okay, about the boats, coming inside, directly they will come with the coal. See now, our entrance is only around 2.5 meters to 3 meters draft. Okay, only the vessels who have about this much, 3 meters draft, maximum when the high tide comes 3.5 meters or 3.3 meters, sorry, 3.3 meters. Only those vessels can come inside, and the capacity of the vessel is around 2,000 tonners. Only those vessels, and these are the barges, limited to barges and the embassy. And the other part, there are all these bridges, okay,
Right.
9 meters height here, Mandovi. So a big vessel cannot pass through that.
Very important point.
Yeah, other even through Zuari cannot pass because the whole area is not 3.3. Other places it is 2 meters, 2.5 meters, like that.
I'll just outline the main takeaways so far. One is, of course, there's a great deal of suspicion and almost conviction that the jetty policy is a backdoor attempt to get the big ships laden with coal to be lined in, on our jetties, ultimately disturbing and destroying the riverine ecosystems and the way of life which exists. The counter to that from the captain of ports is just one, essentially stating that, look, these are jetties that we are only refurbishing. There are no new jetties and big jetties coming up, but that was being hotly contested by people who are saying, no, that's not correct. We found another very interesting development that has obviously taken place. It clearly shows from the conversation that the tourism and the captain of ports are not really on the same page. And while we know that public consultation has not happened as far as this jetty is concerned, we also understand that internal government-to-government consultation is also lacking, which makes the matter even more queer and interesting, but and intriguing. But at the same time, this does not serve the purpose of transparency at all. I will start the next section. This is going to be a short 20-minute section. Olensha, we'll no further questions. A quick response to all that we've been discussing. But primarily, if you could just quickly touch upon one of the main concerns of purely from what it's going to do to our rivers and ecology.
I just want to go to that committee again. Now, if you go as per the section 522 in the draft, now the construction of terminal building. Now here you don't require EIA, you don't require CRZ department, you don't require any other NOCs from any competent agency. So the JMC is going to approve anything and whatever they want under their so-called limit. So I think this is a joke. So now if you see with respect to the dredging, it's a very serious point. When Murunga Port Authority was planning to deepen the channel of the Murunga Port Trust,
yes,
that time the Goa Coastal Management Authority expert member Anthony Mascarenhas had said very clearly that if you are going to dredge capital dredging that was from 14.5 to 19.5 meters depth, then the entire river mouth, including Zuari Bridge, could collapse. So now you are planning of dredging the whole river of Goa and the coastline of Goa. What is going to be the state of Goa? Another side, there is a report saying that because of sea level rise and water temperature rise, that cities in Goa are going to be underwater sooner or later. So now you are accelerating this process. You are helping this to be achieved in the, assume it was 25 years, now you are going to achieve it much earlier.
Right.
So what is going to be the loss of the environment, loss of economy, and ultimately ending the powers of the concerned departments of the state of Goa. If you are saying that you don't want any department, then shut down all the departments. You just have one Sagarmala department and give all permissions, whatever you want to. Don't fool the people of Goa so blatantly. In fact, even the tariffs now are going to be controlled by this authority, which means they are going to charge any exorbitant rate, and the small players who are there here will be kicked out from the race. So this is not acceptable, and I think government has to rethink this draft and take it back, because I don't think anywhere in India, I'm confident nowhere in India such kind of draft is come bypassing all other department. There are policies brought for better management of that existing infrastructure, but not diluting this.
So I'll just quote from one of your quotes where you said that the tourism department is acting like an agent of 5- and 7-star hotels or coal mafia in the state. One of your recent quotes. But if you're saying that the purpose is not tourism at all, then how is the tourism department acting like an agent of the 5-star?
No, tourism, see, we need sustainable tourism. 5-star and 7-star or casino or marina is not tourism. That will not get so-called quality tourism. Today, where is the foreign tourist in Goa?
No, but what
I'm saying,
Jetty policy has nothing to do with tourism.
No, what I'm trying to say is that you are bypassing everything. Why I said that statement? Simply because you are saying that you don't require any NOCs from the competent authority, that is Goa Pollution Board, CRZ, Panchayat, Panchayat is dependent on trade tax.
Right.
Today, Panchayat is crying on daily basis that they don't have funds to govern the village. So that means you are trying to shut down even the Panchayats in Goa, like how communals are getting defunct. Slowly, Panchayats of Goa will get defunct because of non-availability of funds.
Okay.
So I think this is a serious matter, and I don't think just because probably you want to get those big 5-7-star resorts in Goa like what they're planning in Mopa and eliminating everyone else
Right.
is not right. There has to be feasibility report. One 7-star resort in fact in our own constituency is created havoc to everyone. They dump sewage in the river, they dump sewage in the sea, they don't allow fishermen to to store their nets. All this problem arises. There are prostitution increase, there is drug increase, there is huge menace. So this has to be controlled first. We have seen in Kalangut and Kandoli before it was visited by foreigners. Today not a single foreigner. There are more pimps roaming that side.
Right.
So we don't want this kind of tourism in the state of Goa, and I think somewhere or another tourism department should think about it, or the sooner or later I think tourism will slowly will die in Goa, because
Right.
when we have countries who are just dependent on agriculture of their main source of revenue, we have countries which are dependent on sports as a main source of revenue. Goa is blessed with everything.
Right.
Why don't we use that in a sustainable manner? That's what we want to
Okay,
ask the
John.
government.
Now this is completely up your street, your subject mainly. See, the issue is that let's look at tourism per se, and the kind of work that you do. You all contribute a lot to tourism through water sports and so on and so forth. Now, tell us the state of tourism, as it were. Let us kind of assume for 1 minute that this is all about tourism. Okay.
Right.
Now the point is, even if they build these jetties in the manner that they are doing it, how will it benefit tourism? And secondly, as a tourism professional, what do you see lacking in Goa at this point in time? Is there any hope for tourism at all?
If these jetties are purely for tourism, then we welcome it with broad.
How will it help tourism?
If. So my question is if. Like people have this contention that this is not for tourism.
No, I'm saying for this.
Yeah.
For
So maybe
tourism,
I think.
let's bypass that.
Maybe I think.
Yeah.
Just if I keep it aside,
Yeah.
then I think Goa needs marinas. Goa needs jetties. Goa needs.
So you are saying per se having jetties.
This
is
was
not-
there 50 years ago.
Right.
Why is it?
Okay. So
Not
you are
now.
saying jetties for tourism if it is done for
If it is for tourism,
for
and-
honest purpose
Yes,
is not a
if
problem.
it's- Of course.
So what you are essentially saying, the honesty of purpose.
If it is
and the
not
spirit
for
which is
tourism,
coming in
we are going to.
is the problem.
We are going to fighting the till we die. If it is not for if it's for tourism, we are with it. If it's not for tourism, then we are all.
But
in
John,
hand.
at the same time, what Abhijit and others have also mentioned, that any kind of jetty or any kind of intrusion into the riverine system also affects things like the fish and other things there. So one has to do it in a planned manner. It cannot be haphazard.
It has to be in a planned manner. Now, if you look at Dubai, they've got 1,000 man-made marinas. Have they destroyed the ecology or they increased their tourism? You look at Thailand, they've got many marinas, many jetties, only purely operating for them. Have they destroyed their? We tell people this thing that look, this is going to go against you. This is going to go against you. We don't read about it. Like we just look at one of his statement. He says that CRZ is not. The point clearly mentioned they can do it provided they take from CRZ. Now, how are they going to bypass you is not my part of the discussion here. Based on this policy, it is something whether the departments have to look whether it is your jurisdiction,
Implementation,
is
yes,
my jurisdiction. That is, we have got nothing to do.
Right.
If we bring
Right.
this kind of policies which are going to increase tourism, even if it's by 10%, I think we should welcome it.
Okay, John. Octavia, one issue is here. Now, this policy envisages, quote unquote, development of suitable infrastructure like jetties, floating pontoons, terminal building, ancillary infrastructure, so on and so forth. Now, who's going to build all this? Will tourism build it, or can they do it without taking captain of ports into account?
As I have already mentioned to you, the whole conservator of the port is the captain of ports. Okay, it's a state port department under its jurisdiction. Okay, here to put any jetty or anything as such in the river, or to remove anything from the river which is creating a hazard to the navigation, is the jurisdiction of the conservator of the port, that is the captain of the port. Here, if anyone wants to port, they have to take the permission from the captain of ports. This is as per law. as per the Central Act. Okay, so no one can challenge the act, or no one can twist that. Okay, so now here, this Jetty Management Committee, okay, we have got nothing against it because the captain of ports is a member of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so now this was formed earlier, okay, to have a single window system and to regulate the tourism activities, especially these boat rides. That was about, because there are many rogue operators who were not paying the GST, and so they have to be all brought into a single window system. This we accept, the captain of ports accept this, and this may be even implemented on all the captain of ports jetties.
What
The
about,
single window system.
what about the 9 jetties? Aldona, Rebandar, Old Goa, Pilgaon, Banastari, Rasai, Durubhat.
Yeah, that is under Sagarmala. It is not yet the build-up. They are about to be, we have floated
No, but this is under captain of ports.
these are under captain of ports.
So what is interesting is these are all under captain of ports, and it is part of a jetty policy issued by the tourism department.
No, that is what actually is.
That's one of contention.
That's what shows the connivance of all the departments to usurp the rights and the lands.
No. This is not that.
The policy doesn't state where.
No one is going to
In this
accept
policy,
the
it doesn't mention where.
Octavio, this
How
73
big?
crores that came under the Sagra Samriddhi Yojana, this came to COP or it came to tourism?
No, it is under COP head.
It is under COP. Again, it is under COP head.
Yes,
But a jetty policy issued by tourism.
Yes, that is something which is which we
This
also
really
cannot
out of
digest.
sync.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
because
out of
it cannot. What we are doing is we are supporting this jetty management committee. That policy only should be applicable to the tourism jetty called Santa Monica jetty.
Right.
Okay, only to that.
Right.
It cannot come into the
Okay.
jurisdiction, all the others. Other places, if they are doing some tourism activities, you charge them.
Right.
You are issuing them the license, trade license you are issuing. So you take that. That is
Okay.
for you. One more thing. Okay, in that same thing which I wanted to tell, he also pointed out about the building of vessels. Okay. Here in the policy, it is saying that no vessel will be built until an NOC is given by the JMC.
So I have to start looking at business. So I have to shut shop.
So now see, it is like telling us we are under the central government, okay, and through the IV Act there are rules, construction survey rules for that. Any vessel that has to be constructed, it is full.
Specifications.
Yeah, the whole domain belongs to the captain of ports. He has the right, if they are built according to the rules of the survey and construction rules. Yes. Say like this, there is a cargo vessels, there are passenger vessels. Passenger vessels, the rules are totally separate. Now, if these passenger vessels, we see as a citizen of India, I told you, as per the IV Act chapter 4, chapter 5,
Right.
the registration of vessel, anybody can register who is a citizen of India.
That's right, correct.
So no one will be deprived of it. Okay, so now with this, they can come build the vessel. Suppose you want to use for passenger vessel, let them do. Now, if they want to use it for the tourism purpose, then whatever amenities has to be there, tourism department have to come and check launch services. They have all the tourism which will take care of the tourists. That they have to, and they have to issue them the license, trade license.
But they are not equipped to judge the fitness of a particular vessel. No?
They see the fitness will be judged by competent surveyors, competent authorities, okay, engineers, okay, and master mariners. So we have the right, we are the competent, or holding the competent certificate globally recognized to survey the vessel and give them this.
Okay, I just
Is
need to
there a
not
cap
get
on
into,
passenger vessel and cargo vessels?
yeah.
There is no cap as such. So now they want.
Your department doesn't issue permission?
No. We issue the permission, but based on.
I really have to move on to another issue. I'll come back. Sorry to cut you short. I would like to take you back again to the overall planning issue. Let's look at it holistically. My point is, whether you're building a jetty or any riverine system and what have you, doesn't it have to be factored into your overall planning? Either you take the regional plan or any kind of planning, and you need to have a holistic approach as to which way the Goa needs to go.
Absolutely.
And so every decision taken cannot be necessarily ad hoc. It has to
And
fit in.
piecemeal, it cannot be piecemeal
ad hoc
and looking at
piecemeal,
only the river
So just
because-
elaborate a little bit on how this also is antithetical to the overall planning program that any state
Exactly.
should have?
So what happens is, as I said, any node that is new node that is created becomes a transportation node. People are going to disembark. There's going to be a load of people coming there. So that portion has to have the carrying capacity for transport, for
Right.
land transport,
Right.
parking vehicles.
Correct.
They'll want some little food things. They'll have a little shopping center. Something will crop up.
Right.
So if there is not enough space, you've got to either acquire space or find a place that has this kind of
Right.
amenities or
Right.
can provide the amenities, and roads, road network has to be wider.
Absolutely correct.
So all these things you have to factor into your jetty plans also. So you have to look at the overall thing. Definitely.
That has to be part of the overall
Exactly,
RP for
exactly,
that, all the village
exactly.
level plans.
That's why it is always better to refurbish or renovate the existing jetties, because there was some amount of infrastructure happening then. If you create a new jetty point, then you've got to find an empty kind of a space
Yes.
on that. And generally the empty space will have fisheries, it will be basically dense with fish life. So you do not want to destroy that.
Right.
Yeah.
Abhijit, same question to you. Take a look at it from the overall planning perspective.
See, first of all, the captain of ports itself, what they claim to have jurisdiction and powers is actually totally unconstitutional, because this is a 1908 law from the colonial days, and it was only for exploitation of our resources. And it's being continued now. Now they want to serve Adani and Jindal. So we believe that this is all unconstitutional. The powers and the ownership and possession is with the local communities, and the communities should have been where this started from, but this is being imposed from the top. And look at the fact, what is in the draft report. If you go through the draft report, it says in two places it mentions panchayats, and both is regarding clearing garbage. Is that the only job of the panchayats? Are the locals only to be removed, plucked out and thrown out, and then these beautiful lands and waters that the locals created are going to be given to some big corporates to make profits? Isn't that what the government is trying to do? And therefore this entire process is unconstitutional. It's completely unscientific. For example, they are saying that they need to do carrying capacity studies. Then how come these 9 jetties came before the studies were even carried out? All of us here know that the carrying capacity of our rivers is far exceeded long back. We have destroyed our fisheries. We have destroyed the abundance that we had when fish was like, so much that you could never get over. We are now in a position where all of this has to be looked at. This is completely completely unacceptable. People who have no knowledge, who are idiots, who are ignorant, are sitting and deciding on issues when all the knowledge is with the people in the villages. See, the knowledge, the community knowledge is from where everything comes. A few so-called experts who know nothing about what's on the ground.
So quick
are
point,
trying to decide.
even the biodiversity committees of different villages have not been taken into account.
Nobody has
that is,
been, yes.
because they play a
That's
very
very
crucial
important
part.
to take.
And Hyacinth brought up a very important point. All of these jetties where they are supposed to come, I have been there. There are absolutely no roads. There are people's houses right next to it. The moment you build the jetty, you will need the road. You will need the parking. So you're going to displace all those people, and forcibly, because you're not even told them what's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just
There's lots
time issue. I said quick last words on the way forward, and we'll end this round and we'll conclude. Yeah.
The way forward would be, first of all, you have to have a proper committee in place. You've got to have the right people in place. You've got to have consultation from the fisheries department. You've got to have again the Komunidad, the panchayat on board, because they are, whenever you have a jetty, it's part of their village.
Yes.
So you've got to have them on board.
Right.
And you definitely have to take river navigation department and captain of ports totally into confidence in whatever you do, and the people's confidence. You have to be transparent in whatever policy. But I fully agree, with him saying that actually water sports activities, we have so much of water, we've been underutilizing our water thing for sports. It's a healthy sport, number one. Secondly, sailing, there's nothing polluting about sailing, and there's so many sailboats, we are actually losing out on revenue if we don't have the facilities for them. When a boat wants to stop in, they sail somewhere else. You have give them the facility. It's good tourism. It's healthy tourism.
Right. Octavio, your way forward and your last words on the subject.
Yeah, the thing is, this jetty management committee, okay, whatever they have come up with, the policy.
No, firstly
It
is
should be-
the jetty policy needed, according to you?
Jetty policy is needed, and it is
Why is it needed?
from my jetty policy is required, and my thing is this policy should be applicable only to the jetties of the tourism department and GTDC. That's all. It should not be applicable to us.
Passenger
But
boat.
single window system ticketing is to be applicable for all the jetties, even the captain of port jetties,
Okay.
private jetties, everything. And the jurisdiction of the captain of ports should not be encroached.
Okay. John, your last words. Clarity, clarity, clarity.
Transparency.
we need this policy, provided we have clarity. The first is who will build it.
Who will build it?
Who will build?
Correct.
If the money is coming from somewhere,
Right.
then you know exactly what is going to happen.
Is it really for tourism?
Yes. So where is this jetty being proposed? Where it is going to be built? So if they are building in Kolva, as me as a fisherman, am I going to be displaced? My brother and sister are going to be displaced. So do my village needs it? So you need to ask me first. Forget captain of ports. He can come after us. The people on the ground needs to be consulted.
Yes.
You just cannot bypass saying that this land belongs to me, this is my decision, you can do what you want to do.
Right.
You cannot impose your thoughts on me.
Correct.
If it's for tourism, we
Yeah.
are with it, provided you
And
take
people also.
the fishermen
Tourism
into
and people.
consideration, you take the water sports guys into,
Community.
Right.
you ask everybody, if we are all fair, we are there.
Well, let's say your last words on not just the way forward that people have said, you'll also agree with most of them. I'm essentially saying is that how do people plan to take this agitation forward?
No, I think first thing, any policy or any development should be need-based, not grid-based.
Right.
And anything what is coming up should be, all the concerned stakeholders should be taken the confidence first. Now, it is very clear that the jetty policy is not for tourism specific. Even if it is tourism specific, it will be amended in the future for other specific, other reasons. So, the intention of the government is never clear and nor they can give answers. They will say, initially they used to tell that the trains are coming for passenger, then they accepted it is for coal. So let's not be don't think that Goans are foolish. You might have purchased certain people in your side, wholesale purchase, but we will not allow wholesale sale of Goa. And I think people of Goa will revolt, and we will see that this jetty policy, which for now does not look at the interest of tourism or the stakeholders, and yes, for tourism we need to do, but not by destroying what we have. That's
Fair enough. I think we've ended a discussion which could have easily gone on for one more hour because there's so many things to unravel and unpack and double click on. But suffice to say that if we look beyond the letter and the discussion and what's right and what's wrong, I think the fundamental spirit of the whole issue is this lack of trust between the people and the government, which is supposed to be the representative of the people, should first ensure that they have that trust factor going before going ahead with anything that is even purportedly for the benefit of the state. And this is, we've seen this happening across different decisions, different departments, different issues, and you find the same broad lot of very enlightened and completely committed people coming out. But if you see the underlying thread with all these agitations is number one, transparency, number two, the lack of trust because of the lack of transparency, see double talking and talking in different voices, four, interdepartmental confusion. So these are things that need to be cleared, because even from the government point of view, if somebody was running a government and wanting to get something done, you need to sort this out, because even if you want to do something good and you have a purity of mind and purpose, even then you need to take people into confidence. So the issue, this template is as much applicable to the government as well as to the people. So, and the people are wanting this kind of clarity to come. And when there is so much of suspicion, then that needs to be first eroded before you go out, because what is very clear is that you can't ram down any policy down the throats of people, and that is where the matter is. Even if you are right, then justify to the people how you are actually right. And once that process is done, things will be much better. However, we just hope that better sense prevails on all these aspects, and the underlying objective of never destroying Goa's ecology, environment, way of life is always maintained, and that seems to be the biggest challenge now, because of which these sparks are flying. I thank all my panelists for taking their time off and giving their professional and also emotional insights into most of this, and we hope this discussion will be a drop in the river towards making Goa cleaner, healthier, and more people friendly. Thank you.